Yo guys, welcome back. It's Hype Pseudo here again, back at testing teams, and I'm here with the long-awaited, actually not really, long-awaited necrotic team that I mentioned in the last video. So again, we're able to get 22 million here with, I would say, a relatively budget team. No legendaries, all epics and rares. That being said, though, I think some of these guys are scrolled. I have to double check that. But so looking at the damage, we barely squeaked by with 22.8 million. It was very close. This is a very hard boss to get 22 million on. I feel like everyone on this team is playing a role that is almost irreplaceable. So I tested many variations without Zarloth because I wanted to use him on the fire boss to get an easy 22, and there was just no way to do it. So we have to use him here. And that's why I, showcased the fire team having a different setup without him, because we got to use him here. So these are the members. I'm using a couple legendary artifacts. Unfortunately, it's very hard to do it without Hourglass. You could maybe use Incense Burner and get similar results, but we really want to get Thia's cooldown lower so that she can keep that invisibility and debuff immunity on our team the whole fight. And Hourglass basically allows us to do that. Also, it reduces, because it gives skill haste and not just ultimate energy, it reduces the cooldown on her battle skill, which is really important because you want her to be healing you as much as possible. And if her battle skill cooldown is higher with Incense Burner, it might lead you to dying earlier. So this team is actually able to time out on the boss, but it comes pretty close at the end. Our tank nearly dies at the end, but we do time out on the boss. So we need to get that 22 million damage in before we run out of time. So we're using Witch's Remains to help with that. Again, it's going to be harder without this. Maybe Crown, you'd have to level people up to 100 or something to get more damage. Maybe you have better gear. Maybe your Psyche Core is more upgraded. I currently don't have the last tier at all. So maybe if you get the last tier of the Psyche Core, that would give you the extra damage you're missing. But here's the gear. And the timings, again, are back on default. This team is doing a lot of turn meter reduction on the boss, so it's very hard to time skills to go off at a certain point in time. So instead, we are just using more skill haste and stuff to try and get ults more often, and I will showcase that here now. So let's go in game and let's take a look here. Positioning, we have our tank up in the middle front. This really doesn't matter. She can be, anywhere here in the front. But she's the only one getting hit by the boss because this boss's ultimate only reaches 1, 2, 3, 4 tiles. So 1, 2, 3, 4 tiles. The 5th tile, which is where all our ranged DPS are here in the back row, is not going to get hit by that boss ult. That is really nice. And so melees, are just going to take unnecessary damage on this fight. So again, another one of those fights where we want to use all ranged and a tank. And let me showcase the gear. So we're using Witches on Zarloth. Again, like on the Fire Boss, he's applying this Cyril set basically permanently, using both debuffs from his battle skill and with Witches, debuffs on his ultimate. And we're building him for damage and accuracy. Again, attack percentage on both body armor and gloves for the healing, and double attack runes. And then with Thia, we are going Enlightenment, attack percentage. Those are stats that both scale her healing on her battle skill, and a little bit of damage, and actually you could go some accuracy, but it's kind of pointless. Her healing prohibition debuff doesn't do anything. There is a possibility, if you want to, of putting her in the Cyril set and then maybe going a better damage set on Zarloth, because she can apply that healing prohibition. So you'd have to build her with accuracy, go Cyril set, and then have him in like a Gambler set. He's pretty good with Gambler. Maybe you do another Inventor set, and then you could get more damage out of him. But yeah, she is in a healing set currently with a attack rune, another attack rune. Her heal scales most off attack, and then second best with Enlightenment. So attack being the main priority stat, with Enlightenment as a good secondary stat to get. And also a little bit of defense, because this boss does do occasional damage with his Electrocute, choosing random targets, up to 2 random enemies. They do sometimes get hit, and without a little bit of defensive stats on everyone, they might just get one shot and sniped. So you want to make sure they have a little bit of tanky stats. And these guys are a higher level than I showcased on that previous screenshot. I was messing with things, but, level 98 was what I got the 22 million with. Devrick, he is applying our attack penalty. He also has a chance of removing a buff from the boss. The boss gains this attack buff on the ultimate, so he has a chance to remove that some of the time, which can be helpful. And accuracy penalty also can be helpful in preventing the boss from landing the Electrocutes some of the time. And basically, he's just in here as a decent overall damage dealer who can also apply attack penalty. Because getting attack penalty in Necrotic is really rare, and there's not many characters that can do it. So he's really the best person for the job. And we do have him scrolled, unfortunately. A lot of you guys are not going to want to have to scroll this guy because he's kind of niche. But if you're going to use him here in this boss, you probably used him last season on Thelendor, and you're going to use him later on this season on the Otherworld boss. So maybe it's not too bad of an investment to scroll him, since there's, you know, future uses for him in the near future in the last month of the season. And then we have Ardreth in here, knocking back the boss's turn meter and applying even more recharge speed penalty on top of what Zarlath has. The key to this team is just slowing down the boss a lot so that he doesn't get as many stacks and doesn't kill us as fast. She's actually a great damage dealer in this team. We're going with the Inventor set as well, along with Devrick. I didn't really show his gear, but we're going attack percentage, crit rate, you know, same thing on her, attack percentage, crit rate. They both need accuracy. She needs it for her debuff and her turn meter knockback, and he needs it for the attack penalty. And overall, this team is just really good at surviving. We have a lot of heals. We have debuff immunity, damage reduction from the invisibility, and both Zarlath and Thia are healing. Now, Irma, surprisingly, is really good here. I tried Horus. It sort of worked as well. Horus can kind of already tank this as well, but we're using him on the fire team, so I found a way to use her. And she's actually great. She does damage reduction on her ult, which is helping her survive. And hit recovery is actually really nice because the Electrocute proccing its damage also counts as a hit. So not only when the boss is auto-attacking her, but also when the Electrocute is doing damage to her, she is gaining some healing from the hit recovery. And she has also some ultimate energy recharge whenever she gets hit every 5 seconds, which again, the Electrocute can trigger that. So she's able to keep this damage reduction buff on herself a lot of the fight, which is mitigating the damage she takes and keeping her alive. And then again, as per all the tanks for all these bosses, we're going an Ancestral set for the damage reduction and the Scarab to be that safety net. And then we're just stacking defense. So she doesn't need any accuracy like any of these other tanks. She doesn't have any debuffs that she applies. So whatever stats give her the most defenses are the ones you're going to put on her. And yeah, this team can get 22 pretty well. It's one of the harder teams, I would say. That's why I kind of saved this for one of my later videos. But you should be able to get this with Zarlath, Ardreth, you know, Devrick, Irma, and Thia. And you can try, instead of Hourglass, you can try Incense Burner and see if you can get the same results. Timings were just, again, all on auto. And yeah, that's the 22 million team for Necrotic. And I'll be showcasing Yearn next, who is a really tough boss. Required one legendary that you might not have. But we'll showcase that next. And I hope you guys enjoyed the video. And yeah, catch you in the next one.